Happy lunch hour, guys. All right, so in the middle of doing projects and getting some of this stuff put together so I can show you guys some ideas, taking a break here, and I wanted to discuss something that is very important. And maybe all will say I'm beating a dead horse, but I'm going to try to drive this point home here and show you as many ways as I can. So, what is the definition of prepare? To make or get ready beforehand. Yeah, not telling you anything you don't know. All right, but what's the point? This time of year, what's coming up is winter, right? And it is critical that we prepare for winter now, not when all the sheeple out there decide it is time to jump and you're chasing the materials that you can't get. Now, the reason why it's going to be more important this year than ever is cost. All right. And we know that electricity is going up, whatever it would be. But about half the homes in the United States are heated on natural gas. About half the homes in Europe are heated on natural gas. I want you to look at this chart. This is the price of natural gas compared to oil. All right. If you look on the right-hand side, currently a barrel of West Texas Intermediate crude is $89.20. It's relatively cheap compared to where we've been lately. Natural gas is U.S. natural gas is $167.14 a barrel. Okay, if you priced it the way you price oil. U.S. natural gas is at the highest point it has been in the last 14 years. Do we want to go back to what happened 14 years ago? Oh, that was the middle of, or the beginning of, the 2008-2009 debacle that was the Great Recession. Then look at the other one. European Union natural gas, $501 a barrel. Okay. So this goes back to what I was talking about firewood. Okay. What are your alternate sources for heat this winter? You know, you think about everything that we talk about, the plan, okay, to destroy the will of the people, starve them out, freeze them out. You know, summer is a little easier. You can live without air conditioning, okay? People have lived without air conditioning for centuries. Okay? Air conditioning is only maybe not even 100 years old. Heat, on the other hand, goes back to the beginning of mankind. Right? So we need to be able to stay warm. Europe is FUBAR, all right? But that's what you get when you have a bunch of liberal politicians who don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. We just happen to now have one in the White House, so we get to join on the party. So I know what people are going to say. Oh, well, you know, it doesn't normally get cold here. I mean, come on. I live in Tennessee. The average low in the winter, the average winter temperature, 41 degrees. Yeah, we'll have some cold days, but not so much. Well, let's look at a couple other things here, because now you are having all the weather forecasters starting to put out their winter forecast. Okay, and I'm not talking about Joe Average, you know, amateur meteorologist here. Okay, I'm talking the Farmer's Almanac. I'm talking about NOAA. I'm talking about the Weather Channel. I'm talking about direct weather. I mean, let's take a look at these. All right, let's start with temperatures. Okay, this chart or this picture is temperatures. All right, so you take a look. Northwest, brisk. Okay. The northern plains, hibernation zone. Yeah, that would be cold. All right. The deserts out west, it's going to be the desert southwest. Okay. Down to Texas. Okay. The southwest. Chilly, cold. Are there talks that Texas could have another bad winter like it did a couple of years ago? Yup. All right. Midwest, unreasonably cold. Northeast, significantly shivery. Down south, for me, shivery, cold. Yes, all right? So that's the first part. But now, let's take a look at the second part. Let's look at this picture. Snow. What if you're snowbound in the house? Okay. Oh, I don't know. Let's look at the upper Midwest, the northern plains there. Polar vortex. The Mountain West, typical snow. Now you talk about the Midwest as a whole, Arctic blasts. My area, winter battle zone. Okay, what does that mean? Slush, snow, ice, whole 9 yards. How about Michigan, the Great Lakes area? The worst of winter. The Appalachians, the Adirondacks, tons of snow. Eastern seaboard, huge snowstorms. Okay, so get the idea here, guys. There is a real good chance. La Nina is expected to be moderate this year, but a lot of these forecasters are saying we could have an extreme La Nina, which means extreme cold and a boatload of snow. Are you prepared to be snowed in? Are you prepared to be without city-provided heat or city-provided electricity? Okay, you get huge snowstorms. I've mentioned to you guys before, some of you guys who live up in New England remember that Halloween ice storm we had, what was it, 2012, 2013 or whatever it was, where power was out for a week. Okay, it was Halloween. It wasn't that cold. Imagine that was New Year's Day. Imagine that was Valentine's Day when you're in the middle of February and that happens. Okay, yes. What are your backup plans for heat? What are your backup plans to dig your way out of snow? If the roads are closed, again, let's start thinking about this. Obviously, we've all got food in the house. We're good there, so we're not worried about it. But we're going to be cold. So, sure, everybody's got, and I heard countless stories from you all, and I'm happy about this, extra blankets, extra coats, long shirts, long underwear, whatever it is. Perfect, okay? But do you have the things, let's say, if somebody gets injured and you can't get out of the house, or the ambulance can't come? All right? Start thinking about some of those things. What if I get snowed in? I remember being a kid, but the blizzard of 78 in Chicago, okay? I think I've told you guys this, too. There was somebody in the neighborhood who had a snowmobile, and he was snowmobiling to the store to get whatever we could. That was the only store. The grocery store was still open. It was only about a mile away. But he was literally bringing back and forth bags of groceries for people back then who prepped, right? But that's what's coming this winter. Do you have a backup heat source, your little buddy heater or whatever? Let's say natural gas gets ridiculously expensive. Have you cleaned your fireplace? Have you cleaned your wood stove if you've got one, whatever? You don't need to be getting carbon monoxide poisoning or something like that. The soot in your fireplace, yeah, it might be a good idea to, if it hasn't been done in a while, might be a good idea to get that cleaned out, okay? Do you have your natural gas? Okay, now would be a good time to get it because the prices aren't going to get cheaper going into winter, guys. Okay, your heating oil, whatever it would be. Hopefully you've got all that. But then you get into the point again with electricity. Just because you heat on oil or you heat on natural gas, the blower that moves that around your house is electric. Maybe you've got the gas, but if the blower doesn't work, it doesn't matter. You're not getting any heat. This is something that's going to be crucial for people to look at this year, guys. If we have these winters that practically every meteorologist is predicting that we're going to have a bad winter, what are your plans? How are you going to survive it? Because I guarantee you there's a whole boatload of people that aren't. And when there's problems and you see all these, gee, come to this warming center. Let's say you live in one of the cities somewhere. You can go to the YMCA or the high school gym and we have a warming center. We hear this every year, right? Make sure you're taken care of. The other thing is plan for your neighbors, especially if your neighbors are elderly or your neighbors have little kids or pets, things like that. Please don't leave your dog outside in the winter, guys, okay? Please. But you might be the one that takes care of other people and keeps them alive this winter. Just want you to think about that. Enjoy the rest of the day. Pinball out.